We've got ourselves the Motorola G 5G Plus, one of the most value for money 5G smartphones on the market, available at just 1,299 dirhams. The box has plenty of writing and graphics but portrays a nice and inviting look, especially because of the colors used. Opening it up, you find the smartphone first alongside a small sleeve with some paperwork and finally the other accessories, of which there are quite a few. First up, there's a Type A to Type C USB cable for charging alongside Motorola's 20-watt turbo-powered charging brick for the phone's 5000 mAh battery. You also get a pair of 3.5mm headphones which look pretty standard with a universal fit in the ear. Okay, now for that sleeve. Inside you'll find some official paperwork as well as a SIM removal tool for access on the phone, which we'll get to next. The phone has its case pre-applied, which just might be for this particular review unit we received, and the packaging may be a bit different in retail versions, but nonetheless the phone's going to be very similar in this surfing blue color, which seems to have a nice gradient to it. Off to the left you find a dedicated button for Google Assistant and the SIM tray, which can either house 2 nano SIM cards or a nano SIM and a micro SD card, but not all three together. The phone's also quite chunky if you noticed at 9mm, and you'll be able to see that better on the right side where you have a side-mounted fingerprint scanner and the volume rocker. Given the sheer size of the smartphone, the fingerprint scanner is a bit hard to reach, but that might differ based on everyone's grip and hand size. However, the phone's 207-gram weight is nicely distributed quite evenly, so it doesn't really feel that heavy in the hand. The top of the phone only has the secondary noise-cancelling microphone, whereas the bottom comes with a Type-C port, the 3.5mm headphone jack, as well as a single speaker grill and the primary microphone. You'll also notice as we turn on the phone the dual selfie cameras on the G5G Plus, a 16-megapixel primary sensor with an 8-megapixel ultra-wide-angle lens. And it's nice to see that the setup process is so clean on the smartphone with no additional applications or bloatware aside from the ones you'd expect straight from Google. For the display, we're looking at a 6.7-inch panel. It's an IPS LCD at Full HD Plus resolution, and you do tend to see a lack of richness when compared to an AMOLED panel, but the screen can go up to 90Hz, which does give you the benefit of smoother performance in regular usage. The software also remains extremely clean, with Motorola's MyUX on top of Android 10, with Motorola's meaningful touches like Moto Actions for quickly accessing certain functions and applications like that double twist to open up the camera. It's also great to see how reliable these actions are, and for a budget smartphone how responsive the phone stays. The Qualcomm Snapdragon 765 5G processor helps tremendously with that, and daily usage has felt a breeze so far, coupled with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of UFS 2.1 storage on this particular variant. The phone's haptics also feel robust, and that quad camera setup on the phone's plastic back with a 48-megapixel primary sensor, 8-megapixel ultra-wide, 5-megapixel macro and 2-megapixel depth sensor seems to have you covered for almost all occasions on paper. So the Motorola G 5G Plus offers a lot of the high end for a truly remarkable price tag. We want to see how reliable its connectivity with 5G is, and also dive a bit deeper into its optics, battery life, and how it is adjusting to that larger form factor. But that's it for this first look. Let us know what you'd like to see with the smartphone in specific down in the comments, and make sure to like and subscribe. This was Vaibhav, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios!